Good morning friends. So now we continue with the RTP November 2020. We are left with question number 14 now. Question number 14, that is a problem on single entry, that is accounting for incomplete records. So this is basically question number 14, RTP November 2020. This is RTP November 2020. Single entry. Let's start. The following is the balance sheet of Manish and Suresh on 1st April 2019. Balance sheet दिया हुआ है. Capital accounts Manish and Suresh. Creditors for goods and creditors for expenses. Building, machinery, stock, debtors and bank balance. They give you the following additional information. Sales and purchases for the year ended 31st March 2019 were 3 lakh and 2 lakh 40 respectively. Last year के sales और purchase दे दिए हुए. Stock level is maintained uniformly in value throughout all over the year. मतलब जो stock दिया है वही आपका opening stock होगा, वही आपका closing stock होगा. They have mentioned that the stock level should be the same throughout the year. Last year के sales, last year के purchase दिए हुए और stock की value constant बोली है. Depreciation on machinery is charged at the rate 10%. Depreciation on building at the rate 5% in the current year. No problem, depreciation charge करेंगे. Sales in the current year will increase by 43.75% in volume. Sales बढ़ेगा 43.5%, 75% से. Rate of GP remains the same. Business expenditures are 50,000 for the year and all expenditures are paid in cash. Okay. All sales and purchases are on credit basis and there are no cash purchase and sales. You are required to prepare the trading and profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March 2020. This is books of Manish and Suresh. So let me prepare. Very simple sum. Books of Manish and Suresh. Trading and P&L account for the year ended 31st March 2020. Let's start. सबसे पहले ओपनिंग स्टॉक लिखेंगे ट्रेडिंग में. $40,000. Purchases. अब let's check the purchases what they've given. लास्ट ईयर के परचेजेस 2,40,000 है. उसमें 1 सेकेंड, उसमें कुछ इंक्रीज था बोला था. सेल्स इन द करंट ईयर बोला है. परचेज के बारे में तो कुछ बोला नहीं है. ओके, सो विल कीप परचेज एज इट इज. विल राइट योर सेल्स. सेल्स कितना दिया हुआ है? लास्ट ईयर का दिया हुआ है 3 लाख. तो 3 लाख प्लस 43.75%, दिस कम्स टू 4,31,250. 3 lakh plus the percentage, that is 43.75%. कितना आया था? 4,31,250. नेक्स्ट क्लोजिंग स्टॉक तो सेम रखना है उन्होंने बोला है, तो 40,000. अब दो चीज बची, परचेज और जीपी. तो यहां पे जीपी लिख देता हूं. अब हाउ विल फाइंड आउट द परचेजेस. पर जीपी रेशियो भी चाहिए और परचेज का अमाउंट, ये दोनों चीज़ अननोन है. तो लास्ट ईयर का जीपी हम निकाल सकते हैं. वी हैड ओपनिंग स्टॉक, वी हैड लास्ट ईयर का परचेज एंड वी हैड लास्ट ईयर का क्लोजिंग स्टॉक. Working number 1, calculation of COGS. This is opening stock plus the purchases minus closing stock. देखो भाई, ओपनिंग स्टॉक भी 40, क्लोजिंग स्टॉक भी 40, क्योंकि उन्होंने वही स्टॉक लेवल बोला है लास्ट ईयर भी मेंटेन करने को. परचेजेस 2,40,000 थे माइनस क्लोजिंग स्टॉक 40,000. ये इस साल का ओपनिंग, इस साल का क्लोजिंग सेम रखने को बोला है उन्होंने. सो दिस कम्स टू 2,40,000. दिस कम्स टू 2,40,000. लास्ट ईयर का सेल्स कितना था? वर्किंग नोट नंबर 2, कैलकुलेशन ऑफ जीपी लिखता हूं मैं सबसे पहले. लास्ट ईयर का सेल्स कितना था? 3 लाख. और लास्ट ईयर का सीओजीएस भी निकाल दिया, 2,40,000. आई गॉट जीपी 60,000. जीपी मिल गया तो जीपी रेशो भी निकाल सकते हैं. दिस इज नथिंग बट जीपी अपॉन सेल्स इंटू 100. जीपी 60,000. सेल्स 3 लाख है लास्ट ईयर का, इंटू 100. दिस कम्स टू 20%. %20 जीपी आया. तो इस साल के सेल्स पे 20%, तो यू गेट 86,250. येस और नो? जीपी रेशियो सेम कांस्टेंट बोला है, तो कैन वी फाइंड आउट द जीपी ऑफ द करंट ईयर? यस, वी कैन फाइंड आउट ऑन द करंट ईयर सेल्स. 431,250 इंटू 20%, that comes to 86,250, and hence we can find out the purchases right now. This is 431,250 plus 40,000. This comes to 4,71,250. Minus 40,000 and minus 86,250. 3,45,000 का परचेज आएगा. Superb. Now we'll brought down the GP here. $86,250 and we'll record the indirect expenses whatever they've given. सबसे पहले तो बिजनेस एक्सपेंस दिया हुआ है, $50,000. टू डेप्रीसिएशन करेंगे चार्ज, दो चीज पे डेप्री चार्ज करना था, मशीनरी एंड बिल्डिंग. मशीनरी पे 6,500 और उस पर 5,000 आएगा. दैट्स इट. तो सम गेट्स ओवर. ट्रेडिंग पीएनएल बोला था, वेरी सिंपल सम, सिर्फ परचेजेस निकालना इंपॉर्टेंट था. लेट्स डू द टोटलिंग्स. ये हो जाएगा 86,250 यहाँ पे 86,250. चलो माइनस करते हैं. 6,500 माइनस 5,000 माइनस 50,000, 24,750 का नेट प्रॉफिट आएगा. दिस इज टू नेट प्रॉफिट. That's it. We have completed single entry question number. This was question number. I forgot to write the question number. This was question number 14. Question number 14 was single entry. That's it. Very simple sum. सिर्फ इसमें important ये था कि how to calculate the purchases. So we calculate COGS, we have calculated GP and subsequently GP ratio, and as they have mentioned कि GP ratio is constant in the current year also. So accordingly we have worked out. Now let's move to question number 15. अब वो 15th question है theoretical questions and then the accounting standards. So we'll complete it today entirely. And it's a request, students, please go through the RTP because certain percentage of sums are asked from the RTP itself. So I request you to go through each and every sum as I'm discussing each and every sum with you people. So साथ साथ देख लो videos तो कोई problem नहीं होगा, and if you have any doubt you can ask. Let's start. This is RTP November 2020. Sum number 15. That is basically a theoretical question. 15 number 15A and 15B. 15th question. Framework for preparation and presentation of financial statements. With regards to the financial statements, name any 4 users. मतलब who are the users of financial statements, the qualitative characteristics and the elements. Let's discuss this. The users of financial statements will maybe investors, employees, lenders, suppliers or creditors, customers, government and public. These are normally the users. What are the qualitative characteristics of financial statements? Understandability, relevance, comparability, reliability and faithful representation. So they may ask a theory question, a short question like this for 5 marks. So please जरा read कर लोगे तो याद रहेगा, तो you can always write it down. Elements of financial statements. What are the elements? मतलब what are the parts of financial statements? The assets, liabilities, equity, income, gain, expense and loss. You can simply write that expenses and losses, incomes and gains, assets and liabilities. Now accounting standards का section चालू हो रहा है. B part, that is 15th B part. What are the issues with which accounting standards deal? मतलब ऐसे कौन से issues है जिससे के साथ accounting standard deal करता है. Let's start everyone. Accounting standard deals with the issue of recognition of events and transactions in the financial statements. मतलब which transactions to recognize, what are the events which we should record in the financial statements. Measurement of these transactions and events. How to measure these transactions, मतलब what value they should be recognized. And presentation of the transactions and events in the financial statements in a manner that is meaningful and understandable to the reader. And you should present in such a way so that it becomes meaningful and it gives information to the users of financial statements. And ultimately, how to disclose, how much to disclose and when to disclose. That is the main perspective behind or these are the main issues which accounting standards deal. Now we are moving to question number 16, that is AS1. So 15 तो हो गया, this was pure theory. Now let's move to question number 16, that is AS1 के ऊपर है. Basically 16, question number 16 A है और 16B भी होगा इसमें. Yes, so now we are moving to 16A. Question number 16A. This is accounting standard 1. डिस्क्लोजर ऑफ अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज. बेसिकली एएस का ओवरऑल आइडिया दे दूंगा खाली आपको, ज़्यादा डिस्कस में नहीं, डीप में नहीं जाएंगे. डिस्क्लोजर रिक्वायरमेंट्स मीन्स यू नीड टू डिस्क्लोज ईच एंड एवरीथिंग प्रॉपरली. यू शुड नॉट हाइड एनी थिंग्स. वॉट एवर टेक्निक्स, वॉट एवर मेथड्स, वॉट एवर policies you are following, everything should be disclosed appropriately. Let's discuss. What are the 3 fundamental accounting assumptions recognized by the accounting standard AS1? Basically fundamental accounting assumptions सबको पता है कौन से 3 assumptions है. It is going concern, it is consistency and it is accrual. Let's discuss accounting, briefly discuss each one of them. बहुत बार पूछते हैं, ये question important है, please mark it. AS1 recognizes 3 fundamental accounting assumptions. These are as follows. Going concern. The financial statements are normally prepared on the assumption that an enterprise will continue its operations in the foreseeable future and neither there is intention nor there is a need to materially curtail the scale of operations. Basically going concern का मतलब यही होता है कि once you start a business it should go on and on and on. It should never stop. And the main perspective is to earn profit and not to reduce the business operations or not to shut down your business operations. That is going concern. Consistency. The principle of consistency refers to the practice of using the same accounting policies for similar transactions in all accounting periods unless the change is required by the statute, by accounting standard or for more appropriate presentation of financial statements. Consistency का simple मतलब इतना ही है कि वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि whatever accounting policy you follow it consistently from one year to another year. You should not change, and if you want to change any accounting policy, it should be permitted by the AS or by the statute, or such a change results in more better presentation of financial statements. इन कारण के वजह से अगर change करना पड़े तो you can change the accounting policy. Next, accrual basis of accounting. This is the base from which we start learning accounts. Accrual basis of accounting. Under this basis of accounting, transactions are recognized as soon as they occur. अभी accrual system क्या बोलता है? As soon as the event or the transaction occurs or transaction takes place, you please recognize the transaction whether you have received the money or whether you have paid the money or whether the money is receivable or the money is payable. That is immaterial. Accrual का मतलब the moment transaction arises, you should recognize it in the books of accounts. Whether or not cash or cash equivalent is actually received or paid, as I discussed with you people. That's it. Now question number 16B, that is AS2 valuation of inventory. 16B AS2 हो जाएगा. This is valuation of inventory. अब valuation of inventory के बारे में बात करेंगे तो basically क्या बात कर सकते हैं? How to value the inventory? What element should you include in the valuation of inventory? क्या क्या cost of inventory में include करना चाहिए? क्या क्या cost में exclude करना चाहिए? What are the methods of valuing inventory? What are the techniques of maintaining inventory? जैसे FIFO weighted था सब कुछ, methods है बहुत सारी. What are the systems of maintaining inventory? मतलब perpetual and periodic, ये सारे चीज डिस्कशन में आएंगे. लेकिन ओवरऑल बात करें ऊपर से तो let me discuss. AS2 governs valuation of inventory. Inventory should be valued at cost price or market price, whichever is less. The AS2 ने बोला this is as per the principle of conservatism. The cost of inventory consists of the purchase price, duties and taxes which are non-refundable, plus all other expenses which bring the inventory to its present location, less any duty drawbacks or discounts what you get, that should be deducted from the cost of inventory. Next important thing which I would like to discuss about inventory, inventory can be maintained in the two systems, that is periodic and perpetual. Periodic मतलब you do the verification of stock on monthly basis, quarterly basis, semi-annually or annually. Whereas perpetual basis मतलब क्या, आप daily basis पे stock taking करते हो. तो ये perpetual basis of system of inventory हो गया. Next, there are many methods of valuing inventory. FIFO, weighted average, specific identification method, historical cost method, many methods. So उसके बारे में ज़्यादा डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे. And let's move on the last part. Basically valuation of finished goods भी होता है, valuation of raw material भी होता है. So I would like to discuss the concept which has been asked in the RTP November 2020, but let me read the question first. तो this was the overall inventory का summary दे दिया मैंने पूरा ऊपर से. I hope I have covered everything. I might not have covered, but I tried to cover the major concepts of AS2. A Limited is engaged in manufacturing of chemical Y for which raw material X is required. First of all, you need to decide chemical Y finished goods है and raw material X raw material है. वो तो लिखा हुआ ही है. मतलब basically मैंने आपको क्यों बोला ये कि basically there are two things which we need to consider. One is valuation of finished goods and one is valuation of raw material. तो chemical Y finished goods and raw material X है. The company provides you the following information for the year ended 31st March 2020. Raw material X, cost price 400, freight inward 40. You should add that, and replacement cost 320 दिया हुआ है. Let's discuss on this after some time. Chemical Y, material consumed 440, direct labor 120, variable overheads 20. ये इनका total cost हो गया. 440 plus 120 plus 80 तो 640 हो जाएगा शायद ये. 440 plus 200 है 640. Additional information, total fixed overheads for the year was 4 lakhs on normal capacity of 25,000 units. So let me discuss two more points. Fixed cost and variable cost. Fixed cost are those costs which remain constant up to 100% capacity. So they remain same in total amount. Whereas what about variable cost? Variable cost keep on changing according to the production. So variable cost remains same in per unit. So now fixed costs are absorbed on normal capacity and variable costs are absorbed on actual capacity. That was the point which I would like to discuss here. Closing balance of raw material X was 1000 units and chemical Y was 2400 units. क्लोजिंग स्टॉक दिया है रॉ मटेरियल का और फिनिश गुड्स का. यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू कैलकुलेट द टोटल वैल्यू ऑफ क्लोजिंग स्टॉक ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल एक्स एंड केमिकल वाई अकॉर्डिंग टू AS2 when net realizable value of chemical y 600 per unit. ओके, तो यहाँ पे तो हम पहुँच गए. 1 second. So there are two parts to be discussed here. One is valuation of finished goods and one is valuation of raw material. So let's discuss. सबसे पहले हम लोग valuation of finished goods कर लेते हैं. finished goods का मार्केट प्राइस कितना है 600, वेरेज उसका कॉस्ट प्राइस कितना है लेट मी डू द वर्किंग एंड देन विल डिस्कस. सबसे पहले व्हाट प्रोविजंस वी शुड राइट एज पर AS2 inventory should be valued at cost price or NRV, whichever is less. Yes or no? Now let's do the valuation part. Calculation of cost of chemical Y, that is finished goods. क्या क्या दिया हुआ है? मटीरियल कंज्यूम्ड, ₹440, डायरेक्ट लेबर ₹120 and variable overheads ₹80 and fixed overheads. This will be 4 lakh divided by 25,000 units. Normal capacity. So 4 lakh divided by 25, that comes to ₹16. So ये हो जाएगा 640 and 656 उसका कॉस्ट हो गया. Whereas what is the NRV of chemical Y 600, so it should be valued at cost or NRV whichever is less. तो किस पे रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे 600 पे रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे फिनिश गुड्स को, बराबर है. सो वैल्यू ऑफ केमिकल Y इज इक्वल टू कितने यूनिट्स क्लोजिंग स्टॉक में पड़े हैं 2400 यूनिट्स इंटू ₹600. Let's do the calculation. This comes to 14,40,000. This is the valuation of finished goods. Now what about raw material X? Raw material X. अब raw material किस में यूज हो रहा है chemical Y में. So there is a provision about valuation of raw material. The finished goods in which raw materials are used, I repeat, if finished goods in which raw materials are used are valued at cost or above cost, then the raw material should be valued at cost. I repeat, if finished goods in which raw materials or supplies are used is valued at cost or above cost, then the raw material should be valued at cost. इसका सिंपल मतलब ये है कि जो फिनिश गुड्स बना रहा हूं उसमें जो रॉ मटेरियल यूज कर रहा हूं, अगर वो फिनिश गुड्स कॉस्ट या कॉस्ट के ऊपर बिकने वाला है तो उस रॉ मटेरियल को कॉस्ट पे वैल्यू करो. जो फिनिश गुड्स बना रहा हूं उसमें जो रॉ मटेरियल यूज कर रहा हूं, अगर वो फिनिश गुड्स कॉस्ट प्राइस या कॉस्ट प्राइस के ऊपर बिकने वाला है तो उस रॉ मटेरियल को कॉस्ट प्राइस पे वैल्यू कीजिए. सो नाउ रॉ मटेरियल का कॉस्ट हो जाएगा 440 एंड व्हाट इज द रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट 320. अब यहाँ पे क्या दिया, देखो उन्होंने एक्सप्लेनेशन भी दिया हुआ है, तो यहाँ पे मैं बोलूँगा 440 उनका रॉ मटेरियल का कॉस्ट है, यस और नो. और वो कितने में बिकने वाला है? वन सेकेंड, रॉ मटेरियल का कॉस्ट कितना है? 440 और फिनिश गुड्स का कॉस्ट कितना है? 656। ये तो बिलो कॉस्ट बिक रहा है। Yes or no? The finished goods are sold at below cost. दूसरा प्रोविजन क्या है? Finished goods in which raw materials are used are sold at below cost. क्योंकि 600 में बिक रहा है ना, उनका कॉस्ट देखो 656 है। ये देखो आराम से, the cost of the finished goods is 656 and what is the selling price? NRV 600. Can I say they are sold at below cost? Then the raw material should be valued at replacement cost. Don't get confused students. एक मिनट मैं आपको क्लेरिफाई कर देता हूँ। What is the cost price of the finished good? 656 and what is the NRV of the finished good? 600. मतलब उस पे बिक रहा है वो। So can I say if the finished goods in which raw materials or supplies are used is sold at below cost, then the raw material should be valued at replacement cost. So let's write the provision. If finished goods in which raw materials are used is sold at below cost, क्योंकि NRV 600 और cost 656, then the raw material should be valued at replacement cost. ये प्रोविजन लिखोगे तभी मार्क्स मिलेगा पूरा 5। नाउ वैल्यू ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल x इज इक्वल टू कितना क्वांटिटी है रॉ मटेरियल का? 1000 यूनिट्स इंटू 320। 1000 यूनिट्स लिखा है, यस। तो 1000 यूनिट्स into 320, that comes to 320 and 3 zeros, 3,20,000. That's it. I hope you have understood the provision. जो फिनिश गुड्स बेच रहा हूँ वो कॉस्ट के नीचे बिक रहा था, कॉस्ट प्राइस was 656 and the NRV was 600. Then the raw material should be valued at replacement cost and accordingly we have calculated. So we have completed AS2 from the November 2020 RTP. Now let's move ahead for the next question, that is question number 17. One second, let me clear this. Question number 17, that will be AS10, property, plant and equipment. Property, plant and equipment. So this is question number 17, part number, there is no part number, so this is only 17 and this will be AS10, that is PPE, property, plant, equipment. Property, plant and equipment. I hope guys you have understood all the problems of the RTP. If you like, you can please give a comment that you have liked the videos, and basically if you have any doubts you can ask also. That's it. Let's start with question number 17 of the RTP November 2020. AS10 पे है. Let's see what they have asked. Omega Limited contracted with a supplier to purchase machinery which is to be installed in its one department in 3 months time. अभी ओमेगा कंपनी ने किसी सप्लायर के साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया है कि उसको एक मशीन बना के चाहिए जो 3 मंथ्स के अंदर इंस्टॉल करना है उनको. स्पेशल फाउंडेशंस वर रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द मशीनरी विच वर टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड विद इन दिस सप्लाई लीड टाइम. ये जो 3 महीने का टाइम था उसमें सारे फाउंडेशन, सारे वर्क, जो भी प्रोसीजर्स, जो भी काम करना था उस 3 महीने में के अंदर कंप्लीट करने थे उनको. द कॉस्ट ऑफ द साइट प्रिपरेशन एंड लेइंग फाउंडेशन वर 1,40,000. देखो ये सब खर्चा हो रहा था 1,40,000. कैन आई से दिस इज इन्सिडेंटल एक्सपेंस रिलेटिंग टू द फिक्स असेट, तो दिस कॉस्ट शुड बी कैपिटलाइज्ड. These activities were supervised by a technician during the entire period who is employed for this purpose at 45,000 per month. एक टेक्नीशियन था जो सुपरवाइजिंग करता था, उसका सैलरी था 45,000 पर मंथ. तो कहना है दिस कॉस्ट ऑल्सो शुड बी कैपिटलाइज्ड बट ओनली फॉर द 3 months पीरियड, बिकॉज 3 month में तो असेट इंस्टॉल हो जाएगा. द मशीन वॉज परचेज at 1,58 lakhs. This is the cost price, and 50,000 transportation charges were incurred to bring the machine to the factory side. Installation charges हो गया, transportation charges हो गया, they भी add होंगे, supervisor technician का भी cost add होगा, and the foundation cost also will be added. An architect was appointed at a fee of 30,000 to supervise machinery installation at the factory side. ये भी ऐड होगा. Architect was appointed to supervise machinery installation, मतलब कहना चाहिए इज अ प्रोफेशनल, तो ये भी फीस ऐड होगी to the cost of asset. You are required to ascertain the amount at which machinery should be capitalized. Yes, that's it. This is what they've asked. So AS10 अगर if we talk, it is a very huge AS, but let's restrict to the concept which they have asked. AS10 के बारे में बात करेंगे तो let's discuss what is the cost of asset. What items should be included in the cost of asset? As per AS10 PPE, the cost of a fixed asset includes the purchase price, all duties and taxes non-refundable, plus all incidental expenses which bring the asset to its present location. ये सारे expenses को add करना चाहिए. That's it. We'll write that provision and then we'll solve the problem. As per AS10, cost of fixed asset includes the purchase price, duties and taxes. I would like to write non-refundable. One second. And all other incidental expenses and all other expenses which bring the asset to its present location. Cost of, what is the name of the asset? No. Cost of machinery to be capitalized. Let's start. सबसे पहले purchase price. Let me write. So if you look at the RTP solution, they have not written this provision. They have directly solved it. So please write the provision 1,58 lakh. Then add site preparation. Cost 1,40,000. Next is technician salary. Add technician salary 45,000 per month. Add transportation charges 50,000. And one more thing is there, professional fees लिख सकते हैं. Add professional fees for installation, मतलब you will write just professional fees. What is the professional fees? 30,000. 1 second, this was not 45,000, this is 45,000 into 3 होगा, क्योंकि 3 महीना था, तो 45 45 90 90 एंड 45 135 हो जाएगा ये. जस्ट 45 क्वेश्चन में से लिख दिया. एंड 30,000 उसकी सुपरवाइजिंग फीस प्रोफेशनल की. दैट्स इट. दिस इज द कॉस्ट टू बी कैपिटलाइज्ड. लेट्स डू दिस. 1,58 lakh plus 140 1,40,000 plus 1,35,000 plus 50,000 plus 30,000. So this is 1,61,55,000. 1,61,55,000. This is the cost of the machine that should be capitalized. That's it. This is question number 17 of RTP November 2020. That was on AS10 PPE. Now let's move on. Question number 18 of November 2020. Question number 18A and 18B is also there. Yes, so there are two questions on 18A and 18B. Then we have 19A and 19B, and we have 20A and 20B. So this is question number 18A part. Basically 18A is AS11 as well as 18B is also AS11. Foreign exchange. Let me write. Foreign exchange. Let's start question number 18A, that is effects of changes in foreign exchange rates. Let's see what they have asked. Classify the following items as monetary or non-monetary item. Very simple. कौन सा monetary, कौन सा non-monetary. Let's start. Share capital, non-monetary. Trade receivables, monetary. Investment in equity shares, non-monetary. And fixed assets, non-monetary. So only one item was monetary, that is trade receivables. Very simple. Question number 18A is over. Now let's move to question number 18B. अब ये important है. 18B. Question number 18B. Let's start. Again it is on foreign exchange. Now very simple question but practical question है. Goods purchased on 1/1/19 for $15,000. The exchange rate was 75 per dollar. Exchange rate on 31st March 2019, that is the year ending rate है 74 per dollar. And date of actual payment 7th July 2019, that is 73 per dollar. ये तीन चीज़ से पढ़ने से इतना तो समझ में आ गया कि the goods purchased at the rate 75 per dollar. Subsequently year ending बीच में आ गया. On the year ending the rate was 74 per dollar, and so after the year ending the actual payment of the purchase goods was made at the rate 73 per dollar. You are required to ascertain the loss or gain to be recognized for the financial years 1819 and 1920 as per AS11. Now let me discuss this much part of the AS जो पूछा गया है, because this is also a very big AS. Whenever you buy or sell goods in foreign currency, they should be recorded at the rate on which you entered the transaction. They should be recorded at the rate on which you have entered into the transaction. So in the given case, you have purchased the goods on 1st Jan 2019. So you should recognize that foreign exchange transaction on the date when you purchased the goods. That is 1/1/19 at the rate 75 per dollar. That is the spot rate. Subsequently, when you close the books on 31st March 2019, you need to calculate the recognized profit or loss by comparing the year ending rate with the rate at which you recognize the transaction. मतलब 75 में परचेज बुक किया और 31st मार्च पे रेट चल रहा था 74. So suppose if you would have made the payment on 31st March 2019, you would have earned a profit of 1 rupees per dollar. So that also you should need to disclose as on 31st March 2019. And subsequently when you made the actual payment on 7th July 2019 at the rate 73 per dollar, you will compare with the year ending rate and not with the spot rate at which you have entered the transaction. So year ending पे रेट क्या है 74 और आपने कौन सी रेट से पेमेंट किया 73 से, अगेन यू हैव इनकर्ड, अगेन यू हैव अर्नड अ प्रॉफिट ऑफ ₹1 per dollar. So accordingly you need to account all the following transactions with proper entries. Let's start. I will explain you, means I will put it on the board how we should start with the AS. What provision we need to write. जो मैंने बोला वही लिखना है. Initially हम purchase करेंगे तो you should record the date, you should record the purchase transaction on the date prevailing. जो date पे जो rate prevail कर रहा है, at that rate you should record the transaction. Okay, let's start. We'll write in a very simple way, but it will cover all the provisions. Point number 1, as per AS 11, पहले तो ये लिखना पड़ता है. ये always keep a habit of writing this. All foreign currency transactions should be recorded by applying the exchange rate on the date of transaction. जो मैं बोल रहा था should be recorded at the exchange rate by applying the exchange rate on the date of transaction. बराबर है? So what entry will pass? Purchase account debit. This is on 1/1/2019. We'll pass this entry. Purchase account debit to creditors. Simple. कितना डॉलर है? $15,000 into 75 का रेट चल रहा है. Let me calculate 15,000 into 75. This is 1,12,50,000. Sorry, 11,25,000. My mistake. This is debit. This is 11,25,000. I should recognize the transaction by applying the rate which is prevailing on the date of transaction, that is 1/1/19. Now, second point, year ending आ गया. As per AS 11, at balance sheet date, मतलब 31st March 19. Can I say this is a monetary transaction? Yes, because it involves money. All monetary transactions. तो ये provision लिख रहा हूँ मैं. All monetary transactions should be reported at closing rate अब 31st मार्च में रेट क्या चल रहा है? 74 का. So creditors will be recorded at $15,000 into 74 के भाव से रिकॉर्ड होगा. That is 15,000 into 74. This is 11,10,000. The exchange difference arising from the date of transaction and year ending will be exchange gain, क्योंकि हमने रिकॉर्ड किया था इस वैल्यू पे और आज उनकी वैल्यू इतनी हो गई तो हमने वो फायदा हो गया. That is 11,25,000 minus 11,10,000. That is rupees 15,000. The exchange gain will be credited to P&L. The exchange gain will be credited to P&L. Now, when the actual payment is made on 7th July, as per AS11, the actual payment is made on 7th July 2019. When $1 was equal to 73. Full stop. The exchange difference on settlement of the account will be recorded as follows. I will say creditors account debit, to bank, to P&L. क्यों 31 मार्च को रेट था 74 और अब पे कर रहा हूँ 73 के हिसाब से. तो क्रेडिटर्स कितने पे हो जाएंगे बैंक में? सबसे पहले तो $15,000 देखो कैसे कर रहा हूँ, 15,000 इंटू 73 के भाव से. यहाँ पे $15,000 इंटू ₹1 के हिसाब से. दिस कम्स टू 15,000. 15,000 इंटू 73 करते हैं 10,95,000. And this is 11,10,000. That's it. This is AS11 foreign exchange. That is question number 18B of RTP November 2020. Now let's move for question number 19A, that is government grants. Let me clear this. Now let's start with question number 19, A part, that is AS12 government grants. Very important case. Let's start discussing. How would you treat the following in accounts in accordance with AS12 government grants? First part, 35 lakh rupees 35 lakh received from local authority for providing medical facilities to employees. Now government has given rupees 35 lakh for providing medical facilities to the employees. अब ये इसका accounting कैसे कर सकते हैं? You should either show this the grant issued as income and credit to P&L, or second option is that you should credit to P&L. On second option you can deduct it from the related expenses because this is revenue related grant. So basically ना grants are of two types, capital grant and revenue type of grant. Capital grant होगा तो आपके पास दो options, either you reduce it from the cost of fixed asset and the net book value you should depreciate, or you should you should recognize the grant in an account known as deferred government grant and amortize the deferred government grant account in the proportion of depreciation you charge. And second type of grant is revenue grant. Revenue grant मतलब कि आपको जो भी grant मिला वो day to day activity के लिए मिला है. So either you should recognize in the P&L account under the other income, or you should show as a deduction from other expenses. मतलब expense में से net off करके आप बता सकते हो. So that's it first part. तो उसका explanation लिख देते हैं. And we should write in a proper way, otherwise you will not get marks for this. So 19A में first part as per AS 12 rupees 35 lakhs received from local authority for providing what? Medical facilities to employees. For providing medical facilities to employees is a revenue type of grant. Such grants are normally credited to P&L account or are shown as separately as other income. Other income. Alternatively, rupees 35 lakh can be shown as deduction from the related expenses. That's it. ये हो गया अपना explanation part. Now, what is the second part? Let me write here number 2 and let me read. Rupees 100 lakh received as subsidy from central government for setting up a unit in a notified backward area. अभी government ने help किया 100 lakhs का for setting up a unit in a backward area. Any help received from the government for setting up any unit or a factory in a backward area, the grant received will be treated as a grant in the nature of promoter's contribution, and it will be credited to capital reserve, and it will be treated as a part of shareholders' funds. I repeat, any government grant received for setting up a unit in a backward area will be treated as a grant received in the nature of promoter's contribution, and it will be credited to capital reserve, and it will be treated as a part of shareholders' funds. As per AS 12, rupees 100 lakhs received as subsidy from which government? From central government. For setting up a plant in a backward area. In a backward area, the grant received will be treated as a grant in the nature of promoter's contribution. Promoter's contribution. And it will be credited to capital reserve. And will be treated as a part of shareholders' funds. Will be treated as a part of shareholders' funds. That's it. This is what explanation is expected from the students. This is all about question number 19A. And now what is 19B? Let me check. Okay, this is about AS13 investment accounting. Okay, and then we have question number 20A and 20B. Okay, so before we go for 19B, let me clear this. Let's start. 19B. This is investment accounting. AS13 investment accounting. A Limited on 1/1/2020 had made an investment of rupees 600 lakh in equity shares of B Limited. एक कंपनी ने दूसरी कंपनी में इन्वेस्टमेंट किया था 600 lakhs, of which 50% is made in the long term category and rest is temporary investment. So that basically the total amount of funds invested are classified into two parts. One is long term and one is short term. टेम्पररी मतलब शॉर्ट टर्म बोलते हैं उसको, करंट इन्वेस्टमेंट भी बोलते हैं. द रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू ऑफ ऑल सच इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑन 31st March 2020 became 200 lakhs. Oh, the market value became 200 lakhs only, as B Limited lost a case of copyright, as a company in which the A Limited had invested lost a case of copyright. So market value of investments came down to 200 lakhs. How will you recognize the reduction in the value of the investment in the financial statement for the year ended 31st March 2020 as per AS13, considering this downfall in the value of shares as non-temporary? Means the fall in the value is not temporary, it is permanent fall in the value of investment. So how you will recognize the investment in the books? Let's start. Basically यहाँ पे दो parts involved है. One, the treatment of long term investments, and one, the treatment of short term investments, or you can say current investments. Let's read it. इन्होंने सोल्यूशन दिया, वही मैं रीड करूंगा आपके साथ अभी. A Limited invested 600 lakhs in equity shares of B Limited. Out of the same, the company intends to hold 50% shares for long term period. That is 300 lakhs long term, and the remaining as temporary, that is current investment 300. मतलब long term में 300 lakhs and current investment में 300 lakhs. Irrespective of the fact that investment has been held by A Limited only for 3 months from 1/1/20 to 31/3/20. अभी irrespective of the period of holding उसने classify किया क्या 300 long term, 300 current. AS13 lays emphasis on intention of the investor to classify the investment as current or long term, even though the long term investment may be readily marketable. मतलब इन्वेस्टर के इंटेंशन को ध्यान में रखते वो बोल रहा है कि यू कैन क्लासीफाई एज लॉन्ग टर्म एंड यू कैन क्लासीफाई एज शॉर्ट टर्म, इवन दो लॉन्ग टर्म आर रेडीली मार्केटेबल, मतलब उसका मार्केट इजीली मिल रहा है सेल करके. इन द गिवन सिचुएशन अब देखते हैं, द रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू ऑफ ऑल सच इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑन 31st March 2020 became 200 lakhs, that is 100 lakhs in respect of current investment and 100 lakhs in respect of long term investment. टोटल मार्केट वैल्यू 200 था, तो 100 lakh goes to current and 100 lakh goes to long term, क्योंकि आपने बाइफर्केशन ऐसा किया है. As per AS13 accounting for investment, the carrying amount for current investment is lower of cash cost or fair value. अब current investment का valuation कैसे करते हो as per AS13? It is either lower of cost or fair value. In respect of current investment for which an active market exists, market value generally provides the best evidence of the fair value. मतलब फेयर वैल्यू कैसे डिसाइड करोगे? द मार्केट वैल्यू विच इज अवेलेबल. ओके, अकॉर्डिंगली द कैरिंग वैल्यू ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट हेल्ड एज टेम्पररी इन्वेस्टमेंट शुड बी शोन एट रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू, दैट इज 100 लाख, व्हिचएवर इज लेस, लोअर ऑफ कॉस्ट और फेयर वैल्यू, एंड फेयर वैल्यू इज द मार्केट वैल्यू. सो दोनों में से जो लेस है उस पे बताएंगे. तो 300 लाख उसका कॉस्ट प्राइस और 100 लाख उसका फेयर वैल्यू है, उसका मार्केट वैल्यू. तो उसमें दोनों में से जो लेस है तो 100 लाख में बताएंगे करंट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. द रिडक्शन ऑफ 200 lakhs in the carrying value of current investment will be charged to P&L, and as a principle of conservatism you should book a loss of 200 lakhs in case of current investments. Now standard further states that long term investment are usually carried at cost. Long term investment normally cost पे दिखाते हैं. However, when there is a decline other than temporary, as they mention in the problem, the downfall which has appeared is non-temporary, मतलब वो permanent downfall है. तो क्या करेंगे? However, when there is a decline other than temporary in the value of long term investment, the carrying amount is reduced to recognize the decline. Again, here also you need to recognize the loss because it is a permanent fall in the value of long-term investment. Here, B Limited has lost a case of copyright which drastically reduced the realizable value of its shares to 1/3, which is quite a substantial figure. 1/3 मतलब 300 का 1/3 is 100 rupees. Losing the case of copyright may affect the business and the performance of the company in the long run. Yes, it may affect. Accordingly, it will be appropriate to reduce the carrying amount of long-term investment by 200 lakhs and show investments at 100 lakhs as the downfall in the value of shares is not temporary. मतलब इसमें भी 200 लाख का लॉस बुक करने का और उसको 100 पे दिखाने का इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. So both current investments and long-term investment should be shown at 100 lakhs, and the 200 lakhs should be recognized as a loss in the P&L. The reduction of 200 lakhs in the carrying value of long-term investment will be charged to P&L. So very simple theoretical question पूछ लिया था, लेकिन investment accounting पे ये ऐसा AS ही पूछते हैं maximum time. So please try to remember this. And now we move for the last AS part, that is question number 20A and 20B. Both are of AS 16, that is borrowing cost. Let's start question number 20A and 20B. So 20A, let me write AS 16, this is borrowing cost. Let's start. A borrowing cost. Let me give a rough idea what is borrowing cost. मतलब main crux क्या है. So what is borrowing cost? First of all, borrowing cost are nothing but the interest cost which a businessman has to pay if he borrows a loan from the bank or any financial institution. Now what AS speaks, मतलब ये AS किसके बारे में बात करता है? तो AS speaks about the interest cost, the borrowing cost. What will be the treatment of interest cost? How much interest you will capitalize? How much interest you will debit to P&L? And all such stuffs. मतलब interest के बारे में बात करेगा ये AS. So how much interest should be capitalized? How much interest should be debited to P&L? That is the main crux of the AS 16. Now for this, first of all, आप लोन क्यों लेते हो बैंक से? There are two reasons. Either you take a loan for purchasing a fixed asset or for constructing a fixed asset, or you take a loan for working capital requirements. Suppose if you take a loan for purchasing a fixed asset or constructing a fixed asset, so can I say you are taking a loan for such a type of asset which you will use for more than 1 year? Yes or no? The answer is yes. So if you take a loan for purchasing or constructing a fixed asset, then the interest cost which you pay on such loan should be capitalized till the date asset is ready for use. I repeat, if you take a loan for constructing a qualifying asset, for constructing an asset, qualifying asset में आ रहा हूँ मैं, I spoke the word earlier. For if you take a loan for constructing an asset, fixed asset, till the date asset is ready for use, you should capitalize the interest cost in the cost of asset. Now, what is qualifying asset? As I mentioned 1 minute before, qualifying asset is that asset which takes a reasonable time to get ready for use. Means आप construct करवा रहे हो, उसका ready कर रहे हो structure, तो it takes a reasonable time to get it ready for use. So if you take a loan for construction of a qualifying asset, interest cost should be capitalized to the cost of asset till the date asset is ready for use. Once the asset is ready for use, interest cost should be debited to P&L. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि आपने लोन लिया, asset construct कर रहे हो, तो जब तक asset construct हो रहा है, asset ready नहीं हो रहा है, तब तक का interest आप capitalize कर सकते हो to the cost of asset. Once the asset is ready for use, interest should be debited to P&L. इसका ये मतलब हुआ कि asset ready हो गया लेकिन लोन अभी भी repayment करने का बाकी है, तो interest तो जाहिर सी बात है कि चालू ही रहेगा. So what about that interest cost? You should debit that interest cost to P&L once the asset is ready for use. The second point which I discussed with you people is if you have taken a loan for working capital requirements. So basically it does not take a reasonable time to get ready for use. There is no such type of stuff. Basically working capital मतलब डे टू डे रिक्वायरमेंट के लिए आपने लोन लिया बैंक से, तो उसका जो भी इंटरेस्ट आएगा वो सीधा P&L डेबिट में भर देने का. नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, कैपिटलाइजेशन शुड स्टार्ट फ्रॉम, मतलब इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट कब से कैपिटलाइज स्टार्ट करो, कैपिटलाइजेशन करना शुरू करो, कैपिटलाइज करना शुरू करोगे फ्रॉम द डेट फंड्स आर बोरोड और फ्रॉम द date of commencement of construction, whichever is later. I repeat, capitalization of interest will start from the date funds are borrowed or from the date of commencement of construction, whichever is later. ये जानबूझ के ऐसा प्रोविजन रखा गया है, इसके पीछे एक रीजन है कि आप लोन ले लेते हो कई बार लेकिन आप कंस्ट्रक्शन 6-8 महीने तक चालू नहीं करते हो. तो एएस ने बहुत स्मार्ट वर्क रखा है यहाँ पे. फ्रॉम द डेट फंड्स आर बोरोड मतलब जिस दिन लोन लिया या फिर जिस दिन कंस्ट्रक्शन चालू किया, whichever is later मतलब आप भले फिर लोन यूज नहीं करो 6 महीने बाद कंस्ट्रक्शन चालू करो, तो जिस दिन जो whichever event appears at the later date, from that date you will capitalize the interest cost. Very simple. Suppose आपने लोन लिया फॉर कंस्ट्रक्टिंग अ क्वालिफाइंग असेट, 6 महीना आपको काम नहीं करना है, तो वो लोन जो आपने लिया वो बैंक में एफडी कर दिया और वहां से आपको इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा है, तो इंटरेस्ट रिसीव्ड फ्रॉम द बैंक विल रिड्यूस योर बोरोइंग कॉस्ट. मतलब जो आप इंटरेस्ट पे करोगे और आपको यहां से इंटरेस्ट मिलेगा, दैट विल रिड्यूस योर बोरोइंग कॉस्ट. तो उतना कॉस्ट रिड्यूस हो जाएगा और बैलेंस बोरोइंग कॉस्ट ही कैपिटलाइज करने का. तो ये सारा प्रोविजन है A16 के बारे में. नाउ देयर आर 2 टाइप्स ऑफ बोरोइंग्स. वन इज स्पेसिफिक बोरोइंग एंड वन इज जनरल बोरोइंग. स्पेसिफिक बोरोइंग मीन्स स्पेसिफिक लोन taken for construction of specific asset. So interest on those specific loans should be capitalized to the cost of asset only. But there are general borrowings also. General borrowing मतलब एक बैंक से 10% पे लिया, दूसरे बैंक से 12% पे लिया, थर्ड बैंक से 14% पे लिया, तो these are general borrowings. So when you have more than one borrowings, they are known as general borrowings, and on such borrowings you need to calculate the weighted average interest cost. What you need to calculate? Weighted average interest. Simple example, एक बैंक से 10% पे लिया, एक बैंक से 12% पे लिया, एक बैंक से 14% पे लिया. So what is, as a businessman, what is the average interest that you are paying? So that is known as weighted average interest on borrowings. That's it. Now we can focus on question number 20A part. Vital Limited borrowed an amount of 150 crores on 1/4/2019 for construction of boiler plant at the rate 10% per annum. देखो 150 crores का लोन लिया at the rate 10% for constructing a boiler plant. A boiler plant is a qualifying asset क्योंकि it takes a reasonable time. So whatever interest you need to pay till the asset is ready for use, interest cost should be capitalized to the cost of boiler plant. The plant is expected to be completed in 4 years. Yes. So it is a qualifying asset. And what is the reasonable time? More than 12 months होता है तो उसको reasonable time consider किया जाता है for a qualifying asset. Since the weighted average cost of capital is 13%, अभी देखो weighted average cost of capital उन्होंने कहीं से निकाला है कि average cost उनका 13% है behind the borrowings. The accountant of Vital Limited capitalized 19.5 crores for the accounting period ending 31st March 2020. अब accountant ने क्या किया? 150 crores पे 13%. Please check 150 पे 13%. That comes to 19.5. उसने क्या किया? Average cost पे, average rate of interest पे interest cost 19.5 capitalize कर दिया. Due to surplus funds out of 150 crores and income of 1.5 crores was earned and credited to P&L. See, accountant ने यहाँ पे 2 गलती की है. Comment on the about treatment of accountant with reference to relevant accounting standard. Here the accountant of Vital Limited has committed 2 errors. So error number 1, 150 crores का लोन लिया for construction of a boiler plant at the rate 10% per annum. So first of all, this is a specific loan taken for construction of a specific asset. So the rate at which the funds are borrowed, at that rate only you should capitalize the interest cost. तो फर्स्ट मिस्टेक उन्होंने क्या किया कि उन्होंने एवरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल के हिसाब से इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट कैपिटलाइज किया. दैट इज रॉन्ग. सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट, जो फंड्स बोरो किए थे 150 करोड़ के, उसमें से सर्टेन फंड्स बैंक में रखे होंगे, वहां से इंटरेस्ट इनकम जनरेट किया, तो अकाउंटेंट ने उसको P&L में क्रेडिट कर दिया. But the answer is you should not credit it to P&L. You should reduce it from the interest cost that you are going to pay. That is at the rate 10%. 150 crores का 10% is 15 crores. सो 15 crores में से जो इंटरेस्ट अर्न किया वो रिड्यूस करके बैलेंस बोरोइंग कॉस्ट ही कैपिटलाइज करना चाहिए. द अकाउंटेंट इज क्रेडिटेड टू P&L. सो बोथ द अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट्स डन बाय द अकाउंटेंट आर इनकरेक्ट. सो वी विल सजेस्ट हिम द करेक्ट अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट. लेट्स स्टार्ट. Point number 1. So I will say as per AS 16, when funds are borrowed for the purpose of qualifying asset, borrowing cost should be capitalized. Borrowing cost should be capitalized till the date asset is ready for use. Capitalization will start from the date funds are borrowed or date of commencement of construction, whichever is later. And the third provision I will write, any what they want, interest income, any income earned out of the funds borrowed will be reduced from the borrowing cost. Point number 4. In the given case, company has borrowed ₹150 crores for construction of boiler plant. At the rate 10% per annum, but accountant has capitalized interest at the rate 13.5. 1 second, 13.5 है. At the rate 13% है. At the rate 13% per annum, considering as weighted average cost, considering it as weighted average cost of capital, weighted average cost of capital, which is incorrect. Accordingly, the company should capitalize interest cost at the rate 10% per annum. So accounting treatment. Actual interest. This is 150 into 10%. This is 15, and less income. How much income he has earned? 1.5 crores. What is the borrowing cost? 13.5. This is what you should capitalize. This is borrowing cost to be capitalized. This is what he should capitalize. Okay, so please make a note of this. In this way you need to present the AS point wise so that the examiner can read it properly and give you the full marks. That's it. Now let me clear this. We'll move for question number 20B. It is on borrowing cost only. Let's see what they have given. Question number 20B. Now let's start. When capitalization of borrowing cost should cease as per AS 16. When the capitalization should stop. Explain in brief. Let's read it. Capitalization of borrowing cost should cease when substantially all the activities necessary to prepare the qualifying asset for its intended use or sale are complete. Whenever the asset is ready for use, you stop the capitalization. An asset is normally ready for its intended use or sale when its physical construction or production is complete, even though routine administrative work might still continue. Yes, this is perfectly fine. If minor modifications such as decoration of a property to the user specification are all that are outstanding, मतलब ये सब minor work, छोटे मोटे वर्क अगर बाकी है, inauguration part वगैरह, कुछ fittings वगैरह बाकी है, although the asset is ready for use, this indicates that substantially all the activities are complete, but still the asset is ready for use. छोटे मोटे काम बाकी, इससे हम नहीं बोल सकते कि asset is not ready for use. When the construction of a qualifying asset is completed in parts, समझो कोई qualifying asset उसका construction टुकड़े टुकड़े में complete हो रहा है, and a completed part is capable of being used while construction continues for the other parts, and समझो one part is ready for use while the other part's construction is still going on, then capitalization of borrowing cost in relation to the part should cease when substantially all the activities necessary to prepare that part for its intended use or sale are complete. ये सिर्फ इतना बोल रहा है कि when you are constructing a qualifying asset, और वो qualifying asset parts में construct हो रहा है. So suppose 4 parts है, उसमें से 3 parts construct होके ready हो गए, and the 4th part construction is still going on, and all the parts are capable of being used independently. So 3 parts जो ready हो गए उस पे capitalization you should stop because they are ready for use, and the 4th part which is still in construction you should capitalize interest cost and that 4th part only. So the first 3 parts which are ready for which the construction is complete, capitalization should stop. That's it. We have completed the entire RTP November 2020 accounts group 1. I request you to please go through the video, have a watch on each and every sum. I have solved every question from question number 1 till question number 20, and if you have any doubts and difficulties you may ask me. That's it. Thank you very much.